Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about our course Physiology and Immunology, course code CHEM444. This is lecture number 10 of the series of our online lectures. The topic for today is structure and functions of heart. The outline for today's lecture is we will talk about the location of the heart. Then we will talk about anatomy of heart. Then we will talk about functions of heart. Then we will talk about layers of the heart and walls of the heart. So now we move to our lecture. Location of the heart. The heart is located in a region called thoracic cavity. It is located posterior to the sternum, superior to the diaphragm, between the lungs. The tip of the heart is called the apex. Now this is how where the location of the heart is. This is the sternum. These two are lungs. You can see here, one lung is here, the other is here. This is the diaphragm. This is the liver. This is the stomach, and this is the heart. You can see left ventricle and right ventricle are shown here, but in the coming slides we will see a more clear version of the heart. Here is the colon. So this is where the heart is located. Now again, the heart is located in thoracic cavity, posterior to the sternum, superior to the diaphragm, between the lungs. The tip of the heart is called apex. So this is the location of the heart. So this gives you an overall idea of where the heart is located in the body. Now we move towards the anatomy of the heart. The heart has three layers. One is called pericardium, the other one is called endocardium, and the third one is called myocardium. So heart consists of these three layers: pericardium, endocardium, and myocardium. Heart has four chambers. In these four chambers, two are atrium and two are ventricles. So, and it has four walls. One is called mitral wall, the other one is called aortic, the third one is called tricuspid wall, and the fourth one is pulmonary wall. So here you can see the layers: the parietal pericardium, this is the parietal cavity, this is the visceral pericardium or epicardium, this is region is called myocardium, and this is the endocardium. These are the layers, and here you can see right atrium, tricuspid wall, pulmonary wall, right ventricle. But these walls will be discussed in the later slides in greater detail, so you will be able to exactly locate where they are. But this is how the overall anatomy of the heart looks like. Now we move towards functions of heart. The heart pumps oxygen and nutrient rich blood to the organs, tissues, and cells of the body, and eliminates waste products. This is the heart, and you see its location, and this is the main functions that are that the heart performs. That is, it pumps oxygen and nutrient rich blood to the organs, tissues, and cells of the body, and eliminates waste products. Blood is carried from the heart to the organs through arteries, arterioles, and capillaries. Blood returns to the heart through venules and veins. This is, you can see here the aorta. These are pulmonary veins. This is the inferior vena cava. This is the right atrium. This is the pulmonary wall. This is the tricuspid wall. This is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle, and this is aortic wall. This is the left atrium. So this is pulmonary artery. Now we talk about the layers of the heart. Pericardium. The heart is surrounded by a fibroserous sac called the pericardium. The functions of pericardium is to limit cardiac distension and restrict excessive movement. It protects and lubricate the heart. The pericardium is composed of visceral pericardium, parietal pericardium, and pericardial cavity. Here is, we have seen this in the slide before, and now you can see this is the bigger picture of this particular region of the heart. You see the fibrous pericardium, the parietal layer of serous pericardium. This is the visceral layer of serous pericardium, epicardium. This is the pericardial cavity. This is endocardium. This region is called myocardium or cardiac muscle. This is trabeculocardium. So this is now endocardium, innermost deepest layer of the heart, lines the heart chambers and the walls, smooth thin lining to reduce friction of blood flow through the chambers. Cardiac conduction system located in this layer. This is the myo, this is the endo. So this is the cross section of the endocardium. You can see it here. Now is the myocardium. This is the middle thickest layer of the heart. Contains the muscle fibers which are responsible for pumping. Contraction of this layer allows blood to be pumped through to the blood vessels. This is the epicardium, visceral pericardium. This is pericardial space. This is the myocardium, the muscle layer, and this is the endocardium. So this was about the layers of the heart. Now we talk about the chambers of the heart. The heart is divided into 4 chambers. One is called right atrium. It is located here, RA, right atrium. The other one is right ventricle. This is the right ventricle. The third one is left atrium. It is abbreviated with LA, left atrium, and this fourth one is the left ventricle. This is the left ventricle. So these are the 4 chambers of the heart: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, and left ventricle. Now the upper chambers. The upper chambers are the atria, right and left. So this is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle, and this is the left atrium. The right atrium receives receives deoxygenated blood from the body through the superior vena cava, head and upper body. You can see here superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava, legs and lower torso. You can see here the inferior vena cava. The left atrium receive oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Here is the pulmonary artery, and here is the pulmonary veins. So they receive oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Here is the walls. We talk about the walls in the coming slides. Now the lower chambers. The lower chambers are the ventricles, right and left. Right ventricle and left ventricle. Here is the diagram again showing the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left ventricle and the left atrium. Now the lower chambers, right ventricle receives deoxygenated blood as the right atrium contracts. The left ventricle receives oxygenated blood as the left atrium contracts. Now we talk about the walls of the heart. The walls are located within the chambers of the heart. The functions of the walls. The functions of the walls controls the direction of blood flow, allows one-way flow of blood through chambers from the heart to the body. So here you can see this is region is the aorta, this is the pulmonary wall, this is the tricuspid wall, this is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle, this is the aortic wall, this is the mitral wall, this is the left atrium, this is the pulmonary trunk. So these walls control the direction of blood flow, allows one-way flow of blood through chambers from the heart to the body. The four walls of the heart are known as the tricuspid wall. The tricuspid wall is shown here in the diagram. The pulmonary wall. This is the pulmonary wall. The mitral wall. The mitral wall is shown here, and the aortic wall. This is the aortic wall. So you can see here the location of the different walls of the heart, the different places. Now we talk about these walls. A tricuspid wall is an atrioventricular wall situated between the atria and the ventricle. This is the tricuspid wall. It is called atrioventricular wall situated between the atria and the ventricle. It controls the opening between the right atrium and the right ventricle. So between these two chambers, controls the opening between the right atrium and the right ventricle. These two situations are shown in case of diastole and systole. So in case of diastole, it is, you see here, its opening, and in case of systole, the wall is closed. The mitral wall is an atrioventricular wall situated between the atria and the ventricle. You can see here the mitral wall. It controls the blood between the left atrium and the left ventricle. You can see the left atrium and the left ventricle. So it controls the blood between the left atrium and the left ventricle. Now the pulmonic or pulmonary wall, it is a semilunar wall which controls the blood leaving the heart. Situated between the right ventricle and the pulmonary wall, controls the flow of blood from the right ventricle, prevents blood flow back to the right ventricle as it relaxes. So here you can see, as ventricles relax and intraventricular pressure falls, blood flows back from arteries, filling the cusps of semilunar walls and forcing them to close. This is semilunar wall in its closed form. Now, walls of the heart is the aortic wall. Aortic wall, it is a semi-lunar wall which controls the blood leaving the heart. It controls blood flow between the left atrium and the aorta. This is how it looks like when it is open, and this is how it looks like when it is closed. So these are the two. You have to remember that at times the walls has to be opened, and at times they needs to be closed. So they have this capability of opening and closing depending on the situation in which the heart is. So these are the different walls of the heart that we have. Now the overall function of the heart is to help pump the blood that is oxygenated, and it receives, if we go back here, if you go back to the functions of the heart, now if we go now, the heart pumps oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to the organs, tissues and cells of the body, and eliminate waste products. So this is where the role of the heart becomes so important, and the role of the different walls of the heart is so important. When the heart receives blood, it can receive it in two forms. Either oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood is pumped to the different organs, tissues and cells of the body, and it has the capability to receive deoxygenated blood, and then it pumps the deoxygenated bloods to the lungs, where gaseous exchange takes place, and it is oxygenated, and then the oxygen rich blood is again received by the heart, and again the oxygen rich blood is pumped to different organs, tissues and cells of the body. This is how the circulation of the blood takes place inside the body, and through this functioning of this pumping action of the heart, the life continues. And if this pumping action of the heart stops, God forbid, then the existence of life becomes impossible, because the oxygen rich blood that is present in the tissues, organs, it is consumed, and if it is once it is consumed, if the body organs, tissues and cells, they don't receive fresh oxygenated blood, the body will not be able to function, and it can result in death. This is why the, the heart is so important, and it needs to function continuously, because for cellular respiration we always need oxygenated blood. For cellular respiration we need oxygen, and that oxygen is provided by the pumping action of the heart, and this pumping action of heart provide it with this vital role that heart has. So in case of situation in where there's the heart stop functioning, it results in myocardial infarction. Our problem in the function of the heart can result in heart attack, which can immediately result in death. So heart is extremely vital in this regard. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much for watching.